one of our very first trips to a developing country, and certainly a first one for an Islamic country. And in the middle of a very old part of a city, they call it the Medina. It was probably built around 1200 AD. Dirt roads, cobblestone roads. There was a woman trying to drag herself across this portion of the road from one side to the other, using her fingernails, digging her fingernails into the ground, and basically dragging herself. Her legs seemed to be totally useless, and they're just essentially dead weight behind her, and her clothes were torn, and she was bleeding, and she was just hoping that nobody would step on her. So that we look at each other and we say, well, this is impossible. I mean, how could this happen? This is a human being. And then we looked around, and the people that were walking around her were just trying not to step on her, like she was something filthy on the road. They weren't going to try to help her. They didn't try to help her. And I can't, this is what they would see every day. This is life in the developing country. So there wasn't like they were doing something wrong. That was just what their society does.
Right.
So that was in 1979. And it took 20 years before I heard enough from God to say, you got to do something about something for my kingdom. I tried various things, tutoring, mentoring, and stuff like that at our local church, and it wasn't working. And finally, I heard, in a sense, this voice. It wasn't like this, but why don't you use the talents I gave you to do something for the kingdom? So I started thinking about mechanical things, and what kind of mechanical thing could I help that woman? And a whole wheelchair. Well, that's not brilliant, right? So why didn't she have one? And then I got into the information that you just mentioned about the 75 million, and I did a lot of research. I was good at that. I was trained how to do that, and I found out of all the organizations that were working up till that time of 1999. They had only given out 100,000 wheelchairs, and they worked really hard for 2 or 3 decades to get this job done. And that's not a very good return on their efforts.